selected participants from the department, senior people. We also did not use driver operators because lots of times don't always put on their full sets of gear, so they were always jump seat people, and usually not officers because they don't always, they do different tasks than firefighters do. We wanted, to really get to the meat and potatoes of the activities, so we were very specific. We also kept them to the same body size because what we did, as in Phoenix, is we rotated gear. We took about a year to do our process. And rather than a closed course, we actually sent the gear out to the field for 6 weeks for each set, brought them back, laundered them, inspected them, and then reissued them to the next person. So this way, every person got to try at least the same manufacturer, style-wise, and at least every type of ensemble, three-piece ensemble that we were looking at in our specs. We were actually making a 20-year shift from a product, our outer shell product, pretty significant for us. And so we wanted to look at a variety of outer shell materials. Our moisture barriers and thermal layers stayed the same. So really all we did was switch. We were looking at style and outer shells. So it was a one-year process. Our feedback tool was actually a pretty cool part of our process. We put together booklets with the plastic binder systems, or you can use even loose leaf. But every time they put the gear on for a fire or non-fire incident, they filled out an evaluation sheet. And they were quick, rate your comfort, 1 to 5. So all they do is, circle a number or a letter. Very quick response activity for them. We had, as I said, a separate fire and non-fire because obviously you're not going to worry about thermal issues in a non-fire situation, and it cut down on the work they had to do going through different questions. So at the end of the 6 weeks, we gather up all their evaluation sheets, take those out, put in clean sheets for the next person so they could not see what the previous wearer, how they rated that garment, and we'd send them back out the garments. Also, like Phoenix, we did not mark them at all, so they did not know the manufacturer, which we felt was very important for an objective examination. The wearers were not the people on the final PPE committee. So the PPE committee then took all those evaluations, all the data, and kind of cold flew it and said, okay, what are the big issues? You always had ranges of responses depending on the type of fires people went into, the type of activities they did, which is the downside to a live, real-life evaluation process is you can't control how and where and when that gear is used, but it is real life. So it has advantages and disadvantages that you need to weigh out. What we did is we looked for major trends. One of the things we were evaluating is zippers versus hook and keys. Did the guys like it? It was funny. We were really hoping they'd consider zippers, and it was overwhelming response. No, clearly for every evaluator. So those are the kinds of things we were looking for. What trends we could see in that process, what big issues they absolutely adamantly were opposed to or adamantly in favor of. So those are the things we were looking for. We built that into our final spec. We ended up also testing, at the end of the year, we tested the shells for durability, tear resistance. We went back to TPP, we went back to THL for our ensembles to get some idea, since we were making a major shift in shells, what we were looking at in terms of durability. 1 year wasn't enough to really tell us no, but actually it turned out not to be a dependable indicator of the durability over, say, a normal 5 or 6 year lifespan. That was the most interesting thing we learned out of the process. But that's, in a nutshell, what we did in Virginia Beach, short and sweet. If you're a small department, you may not be able to get samples to do things to this extent. So ask questions, get with neighboring departments. Maybe you can borrow a new set of gear from a larger community and say, hey, can we borrow it for 5 or 6 weeks to test it, give it back to you? Because they're always using old sets for training purposes and things like that. So be creative. If you can't do this level testing and evaluation. Be creative. There's lots of ways you can get your hands on here to get the answers that you need. So it's very important to do it yourselves and get your firefighters involved. Tremendous amount of buy-in when you do that. So what we learned, there's no wrong way to purchase PPE, really. There's no one perfect ensemble. Education is empowerment, the most important thing.